Going on, Cliff Jumper 1984, Red Rocks, your favorite Autobot, all day long and all day strong, drinking that 25-ounce tower of power with that natty ice. Finally got some time over the weekend to finally catch up on some Netflix stuff. I've been waiting and waiting. And of course, I've been watching the Voltron series. I made a video that was so rambly, like, a year and a half ago, talking about how much I loved it.
Chances I could never go through.
Well, it's been awesome. I really don't throw a lot of spoilers in it. It's not the main point of the video, but I grew up, I was born in 1982. Voltron came out, it was like 83 or something like that. And basically, reruns were coming out all the time. I was like 5 or 6 years old. My mom would come down Sunday morning really early at like 6 in the morning and find me watching it. Even on the Spanish channel, I love Voltron that much. True story. The only thing I grew up with, I had the Red Line, the plastic version. That's all I ever had. But I was religious to it when the series re-premiered on, well, I shouldn't say re-premiered. There was a remake on Fox years and years ago. It was like 1997, 1996, where the CGI Transformers Beast Wars was out. It was meh at best, but it kind of tried to follow. I think it was like a follow-up story almost to what happened in the original series. But anyway, down the line, this Netflix show came out, and I just finished up to the end of season 7. It's been awesome. Like, season 8 is out. It's been out for a while. I can't believe that, and it just makes me think, the stuff Netflix has been doing for certain shows like that. The Castlevania series has been awesome, and you're seeing all this anime on there, and they're trying to get all these shows, and they got all this big budget and stuff like that. And I don't know what's going on with those funky color changes, but it's just making me think, like, what other shows that I grew up with, growing up, of course, with the cartoon in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, could be a great Netflix reboot? Because they're killing it right now with the stuff that I'm seeing, and I'm sure, again, with a lot of stuff I grew up with, it can be tremendous. And when I thought about it and think about a lot of stuff that I grew up with and things that never made it. There's stuff that can always be succeeded on. Whatever happened to the He-Man series, 2002 or 2003 it came out? That could be picked up, or same animators, or at least try and finish the story on Netflix, or even reboot it all. I know there's a He-Man movie supposedly in the works. It's supposed to be more horror sci-fi, which I'm all down with that concept too. Let's do something with that. And when you think of, again, where He-Man wasn't finished, and that was a Cartoon Network series, what was another one that was a little bit more closer to, even God, when I started seeing my wife right as we moved out, it was on, and that's Thundercats. I'm sure a lot of those writers and animators are still around and probably on board to finish it if there's a budget. That never got finished. That's something I need to go back and finish. There was a lot of untold story in the way that it basically followed a whole chapter and everything. It wasn't like, back in the day, almost a monster of the week. Well, no, not to be true, because Thundercats actually got it more of a continuity as a cartoon if you actually watch it more. It followed something. It wasn't just like a monster of the week, or, you learned something at the end of the day. And thinking about Thundercats, what was Thundercats in space? Silverhawks. Talk about a show that had like a badass fucking opening at the time.
Tally ho! Wings of silver, birds of steel. Silverhawks, partly metal, partly real. Silverhawks, soaring through the highway of the heavens in their flight. Silverhawks, a rainbow in the
What, it only ran for like 13 episodes or 20 some episodes, and it was weird because I don't my mom used to work at Kmart back in the day, and I got like the coolest toys. Like back in the day, Kmart had the shit. If it wasn't Kmart, it was James way back in the day, at least in Pennsylvania. And I had almost all the good guys in the Silverhawks except like the big stocky guy. Wow. And that could just use a remake. I don't know why. It was just such an interesting show, and I think for what they're doing at the time with all the sci-fi stuff and everything, you could make it so interesting and look so good. Like what they did with Voltron, they put him more in space than on ground. Is what they did in the old cartoon. There's so much possibilities. Let's move on a little bit of stuff like the '80s. Yeah, away from the '80s and move on to the '90s. And how about this for you? And I hope my buddy AJ, if you're watching this one's also for you. Ronin Warriors.
Fantastic battle armored samurai.
Ronin warriors. Ronin warriors.
Together, they face the otherworldly forces of the evil dynasty,
The powers in the armor.
calling on the spirits of ancient samurai warriors.
The powers in the armor.
All five have been given super-powered fighting skills and weapons to wield against this tyranny.
Justice.
Might,
Wisdom. Trust.
I know that sometimes the show gets bashed depending on who you talk to or like some purists because a lot of the animation and a lot of episodes is reused so much. But they could make a good story behind it. I don't even care if they do a 5 episode of it and make it like an hour long each. You could do so much with that material. There's a lot there. And that's really the biggest ones I can think off the top of my head. Oh, here's another one. This was on my list too. I didn't put a list in front of me. I usually try and go with no script, of course, when I do some of my YouTube videos. How about this? I don't know what name to use if you know what I'm talking about. Japanese, I think it was called Gatchaman. We got it as Defenders of the Planet in the 70s. And then G-Force in the late 80s and early 90s, depending on where it was at, when it was shown on like TBS and Cartoon Network. Again, there's another shout out to my buddy AJ.
Battle of the Planets. G-Force. 5 incredible young people with superpowers. And watching over them from Center Neptune, 7 Zark 7. Watching, warning against surprise attack by alien galaxies from beyond space.
We used to watch that religiously. It was like at 4:30 every day during the weekday or 4 o'clock. And we used to make sure when we were done running around, we were out of school, we get together at his house and we would watch that show. I don't know what it was about. It was awesome, and I wish I forgot to bring the game down. He's on a fighting game, Tatsunoko versus Capcom, and Two of the guys are on there, the Eagle and the Swan. I can't believe the names are, escaping me right now because I used to love watching G-Force all the time. And of course, like I said, Castlevania's on there, and there's not many video game adaptations. Everyone's talking about they'd love to see a Legend of Zelda game on there, but there's so many ways you can really spoil that series, and people know that. You would almost have to have talking for a Link. It would be really hard to not have talking on it, but it would still be cool. And then people would argue about what part of the timeline you'd have to put it in.
Well, excuse me.
Yeah. Even Metroid would be real close. Someone even brought that up, or there was talks of doing a Metroid movie in that, or a series, which that would be fucking awesome. So, what cartoon or even video game would you like to see, like, Netflixized and stuff like that? Throw that comment below, and until next time, like always, drink one on me.